Hi guys, welcome back to 234 in La Casa. Today I'm gonna meld two things together that my children really love. They love Doritos and they love tacos. So I've been seeing a recipe all over the internet for Doritos casserole. So that's what we're gonna do today. And they're really excited. I'm excited to try it too. So I'll bring you all over and show you the ingredients for this taco Dorito casserole. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and turn your notification bell on so you can be notified when we post new videos here at 234 in La Casa. And also, if you like the content here, you can always send a donation. All of our donation information is in the description box below. And I love all of your comments, like I always say, so keep those coming as well. I'll bring you all over and show you the ingredients and do a cooking tutorial for you all for this Doritos Taco Casserole. I'm really excited to try it. See y'all in a second. Okay guys, so these are some of the ingredients that you're gonna need for your Doritos Taco Casserole. Of course, you're gonna need Doritos, and you're gonna also need shredded cheese. You can use Colby Jack, mild cheddar. I'm gonna use Colby Jack. I'm sure there's like a Mexican blend that you can use as well if that's what you would prefer to do. It's just whatever your preferred cheeses are, okay? You're also gonna need some Velveeta and some taco seasoning, and I'm going to use two different taco seasonings. I'm going to use this one too, but as I go on cooking, I'm going to show you all these things as well. You're going to want to use salt and pepper. You're going to need a can of black beans and some chicken base and some pico and onion, jalapeno pepper, and minced garlic, which I have here. You're gonna need some cumin and some whipped cream cheese, okay? And I'm gonna be using 80-20 ground beef for the protein. You can use shredded chicken if that's what you would prefer, ground chicken, ground turkey if that's what you would prefer. You can also use a meat substitute if that's what you would like. I'm sure, you know, diced up portobello mushroom is really, really nice, or any other kind of protein substitute that you would prefer, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. We're gonna start with the black beans because I like to cook mine. I don't just dump them out of a can into something. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started with that, okay? And so what you're gonna wanna do is get your black beans, and you're gonna want to have a colander as well. I normally will drain my black beans into a colander, rinse them off, and then place them in a pot, okay? But before I do all of that, we're gonna start with some onion, jalapeno pepper, and we're gonna start cooking that with some butter, going ahead and getting those things softened. So we'll saute those. And then while we saute our onion and jalapeno pepper and, onion and jalapeno pepper, I'm gonna go ahead and rinse the black beans off, okay? Over at the sink. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this added. I'm gonna add seeds and all. I love the heat from the seeds from jalapeno pepper, so I'm gonna add seeds and all. And I'm gonna add a little bit of salt so that the onion and the jalapeno pepper can sweat some. All right, and then I'm gonna put the lid on that, and then I'll go head over to the sink and rinse the black beans off, okay? Okay, so I've got those black beans rinsed off. They're sitting in the colander over there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and get a skillet out so I can start on the protein. All right, I'm gonna use a saucepan for the protein. And so we're gonna have the same approach for the protein that we did for the black beans. I'm going to put some butter in this saucepan and turn it on medium-high heat. And to that, we're gonna add onion, jalapeno pepper, and salt, okay? Okay, and so for our protein, we've got butter here. I'm gonna add some onion and jalapeno pepper to this, okay? And then I'm gonna add some salt to it so that those vegetables can go ahead and start sweating. All right, and we're just gonna saute our jalapeno pepper and onion. And then we've got the same thing going on over here as well. And let me go ahead and get this mixed together over here too. It smells really, really good already. Okay, y'all, so these vegetables have gotten softer. And so I'm gonna go ahead to this. I'm gonna add a little bit of minced garlic, and we're gonna add the minced garlic last because you don't want your minced garlic to scorch. When it scorches, it just does not taste very good at all. Okay, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of garlic to this. And saute that for just a little bit, not too long at all, maybe like a minute. And that smells really good. And then to that, we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna add a little bit, I'm gonna add some water. I'm gonna put some water in this bowl. And so this is gonna be about a cup of water, okay? And I'm gonna turn my water up, and to the water, I'm gonna add about, maybe about a half a teaspoon of chicken base. And so this is what the chicken base looks like right here. So about half a teaspoon of chicken base is what I'm gonna be adding to that water. And then I'm gonna bring this to a boil. I'm gonna kind of stir that chicken base in a little bit, but I'm gonna go ahead and bring that to a boil. And now I'm gonna check back on these veggies over here and see how they're going. Okay, so they're coming along. And so to this, I'm gonna add a little bit of water because that butter cooked off. So I'm going to add just a hair of water so that the onion doesn't scorch or anything. And I'm going to turn this down some too. Okay. Now I'm going to mix that back together, and then I'm going to add some garlic to this, and then I'll get ready to add our protein. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little bit of garlic, and you add as much garlic as you like. I'm not going to add a whole lot, just a little bit. Okay, get that stirred together and let that kind of simmer a little bit. I'm going to put the lid back on here just for a little bit while I open up the protein. Okay, so now this is at a boil. I'm going to turn it down to low, and then I'm going to go ahead and add our 80-20 to my other pan over here, pot. Okay. And I'm going to put the lid on that for just a second. I've got that turned down as well. And I'm going to go over and get the black beans to add to this pot, okay? All right, and so now we're going to add the black beans. And you do not have to do your black beans this way if you don't want to. I just prefer for my black beans to have flavor. You can just add them, open up your can and rinse them off and dump them into the casserole if you would like to do it that way. I just don't do it that way. I was an exchange student in Costa Rica for a long time, and you would eat black beans all day long, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And you don't just pour them out of a can in Costa Rica. I'll tell you that. So yeah, so I just added some cumin to that. Okay, just a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of cumin, so I just added a little bit of it. And then to this, I'm going to go ahead and add some of this pico, just not a whole lot. I'm going to add just a little bit. And I'm going to turn my eye back up some because we're going to let this cook for a little while, maybe about 10 minutes or so. And then to that, I'm going to go ahead and put some more salt in here, and I'm going to put a bay leaf in. Okay. Okay, so I'm adding some kosher salt. And this is just 1 can of black beans. So I think that I'm just going to use 1 bay leaf. Okay. Place that right on top. And then I'm going to put the lid back on here. Okay. We're going to allow that to come to a slight boil. And then now we're going to deal with this protein. Grab a fork and get ready to break this protein up. And this recipe calls for corn as well. I am not going to use a can of corn. I have some corn frozen already in my freezer that I need to use up. So I'm going to just cook my corn instead of using canned and just see what happens. I don't know how much of that corn I'm going to use yet, but I'll show you all, when I'm doing it. I'm going to cook my corn and then add it to the casserole. All right, I'm going to go ahead and salt and pepper this this ground, this 80-20, this ground chuck. So I'm going to put a little bit of salt in here. I don't want to put too much because, of course, we're going to have the taco seasoning that has salt in it. So I'm just going to put a little bit of salt, and I'm going to put a little bit of, just a little bit of black pepper. Okay, and then I'm going to turn my eye back up some for the protein. And to the salt and pepper with this protein, I'm going to add some of this body of taco seasoning. This body of taco seasoning, this particular one, it doesn't have any salt in it at all. It's just taco seasonings with no sodium, okay? And I'm using that just to cook the protein in. When the protein is done cooking, I'm going to drain the fat off, and then I'm going to add in that packet of El Paso taco seasoning. And if I didn't mention this before, you are going to need a casserole dish, because for this Doritos casserole, it goes in the oven for a little bit. Okay, so this is going to be the pot that I'm going to use for the corn, and I already have some water in it. It looks like it's just about a fourth of a way up in this pot. So it's some water in there. I'm going to go ahead and add some butter to it. 2 cups of corn. And if I find that it's too much for the casserole, I can always, you know, do something else with it. And then I'm going to add some sugar to this. Okay, so it's about a tablespoon of sugar. And then I'm going to add some salt to this corn. And I'm going to add some black pepper to it. Okay, and that's it. I'm going to put the lid on that and allow that to come to a boil. Okay, so this is done, and I'm going to drain this off. Okay, so I've got that drained, and so to this protein, we're going to add the El Paso taco seasoning. Okay, and I just got the original. Now I'm going to turn this back on, and I'm just going to fill this up with water. Okay, so we're going to add water to that. Okay, I'm just going to stir this taco seasoning in. And I'm going to allow this to thicken some, okay? So I'm going to turn this up so I can bring this to a boil. The beans, they're looking really, really good. Smelling good as well. I'm going to allow this to continue to vent and allow for a lot of this water to cook off, okay? And the reason why I'm doing it this way is because we're going to be mixing a lot of this together, placing it on top of the Dorito chips, and so we don't want it to just be totally just saturating and all of that. So that's why I'm like on these things, I'm cooking a lot of the water off of these items, okay? And you want to make sure that you have your oven set at 350 degrees. Okay, I'm going to turn the taco meat down. See how, oh yeah, it's thickening up. So I'm going to turn that down. You see how the beans are coming. Okay, I'm going to turn these beans up some. I'm turn the corn down and turn the beans up. And then for the taco meat, I'm going to go ahead and add some Velveeta cheese. And this Velveeta cheese is at room temperature. I'm going to move it off the heat for just a second so I can get that Velveeta kind of mixed in. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and place it back on the heat. And I've got it on a medium-low heat right now. I'm going to place the lid back on there. And then to that, I'm going to add some of the whipped cream cheese. I'm just going to add a little bit of whipped cream cheese. I think that's probably good right there. And the cream cheese was at room temperature, and so was the Velveeta. Both of those were at room temperature so that they could melt easier into the into this taco meat. Okay, so let me look at this corn again. So most of the liquid has cooked off. I'm going to put it back over here to cook some more, but I am going to taste it to make sure that it is done, okay? And it has a nice flavor. I'm going to add a little bit more sugar to it. A little bit more sugar, and I'm going to add a little bit more butter to it. It's about a tablespoon. So I've put about 2 tablespoons, 2 cups of corn and 2 tablespoons of salted butter. Let me check on my protein here. See how it's coming along? It's coming along great. And now I'm going to check these black beans. Actually, I'm going to turn this turn it off because it's going, and I'm going to turn it off. Okay, let me check this. This smells so good. I'm going to turn these up just a little bit because I want that liquid to cook off some more on these. And then I may just use a slotted spoon to add these in, but we'll just see. But I'm going to turn it up some. And then in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and get my baking dish ready for the casserole. Okay, let me grab the baking dish. Okay, and this is the baking dish that I'm going to be using, okay? And it's pretty large, and I'm going to go ahead and spray it with Pam. This is the Pam I'm using to do my to spray my casserole dish. I'm going to bring my casserole dish over so we can go ahead and start assembling and placing the Doritos in the casserole dish. But let me check this corn really quick again and see how it's coming. Okay, that looks really good. And now at this point, you can do this multiple ways. You could put your corn in your taco meat if you wanted to, and mix it all together. Put your black beans in there too, mix it all together. Or you can layer. You could layer your taco meat, then put corn on top, black beans on top, and then some more of your taco meat, or how you can layer it kind of like a lasagna. I'm going to decide that once I get my Doritos in my casserole dish, and kind of whatever comes to me in my mind to do, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to operate off of whatever I feel in the moment. So, in terms of this casserole. So I'm going to let me check these beans again. Okay, they're coming along. So while these continue cooking, I'll make my final decision. I'm going to turn the corn off, okay? And I'll make my final decision about how I'm going to do the layering once those beans are ready. All right, guys, so these beans are just about ready. I'm going to turn them down a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and start assembling the Doritos for the casserole. So I have a 9.7 ounce bag of Doritos, and then I also have this 18 ounce with just some in here. We've eaten most of them. So I'm going to use these first for the bottom. And I prefer for the bottom layer to not be like crumbs, but just to be kind of like smaller pieces. And then the larger pieces, I prefer for those to be on top, okay? And so then now what I'm going to do, I've decided I'm going to layer, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and layer my taco meat in here. I'll put that on top of the Doritos. And you don't want to just pour, because it'll push the Doritos all to the side. So you kind of want to take just an extra few minutes just to lay your ingredients on top of the chips, so that the chips don't, what will happen if you pour, they'll just spoon out, and so you won't have any Doritos in the middle. So just take a little bit of extra time and just spoon your food on top of the chips, okay? Instead of just pouring it out of the pot, dumping it in there and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so that's that. And then now I'm going to add the black beans. Let me get a slotted spoon. And you see the liquid, so that's why I'm, I just don't want a lot of that liquid at all, really. All right, and then next we've got the corn, and the liquid, it pretty much cooked off this corn, but I'm still going to use a slotted spoon and to put the corn in here, okay? And so on top of this corn, I'm going to add the rest of this taco meat to it that's left behind. So I'm just going to kind of drizzle some of it on top. And then we will add our Dorito chips and our cheese. I'm going to sprinkle some cheese on top of this, then the Dorito chips, and then some more cheese, okay? Okay, so let me get the cheese. So here we go. And we're just going to drizzle some of the cheese because we need to reserve the majority of it for on top of the casserole, okay? And you are going to cover this casserole with foil or with a lid if your casserole dish came with a lid. And you're only going to bake this casserole at 350 for about 20 minutes. It's not going to be in there that long. Okay. And so now we're going to add the top layer of Doritos. And this is where you're going to want to have your larger Dorito chips. Okay, that's it. And so then I'm going to go ahead and place cheese on top of that. And then I'm going to put some foil on top and kind of just lay it on top. I'm not going to put it on there like just really secure or anything like that. And I'm going to spray my foil as well so that it won't stick to the cheese. So I'm gonna spray it with Pam. All right, so this is gonna go in the oven for 30 minutes and I will bring you all back once it's done. Okay guys, so I'm gonna pull the casserole out. I've already looked at it. It needs more cheese, but I'm gonna show you what it looks like so you can see why I'm saying it needs more cheese, and I'm sure you all are gonna agree that it does. So hold on. Okay, see, so I personally think that needs more cheese. So I'm gonna shred some more, put on there, and then put it back in the oven because it's got about 15 more minutes, or about 10-15 more minutes to go. Okay, but you know, now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, maybe it doesn't need any more cheese. I don't know. I'm debating, y'all. I'm gonna ask one of my kids. Hold on. Let me check with one of my kids and see what they say. All right, so one of my kids said, please, more cheese. So let me go ahead and get that added. She agreed that more cheese was needed. And I agreed too. So I've got some more shredded cheese I'm gonna add onto this, and then we'll stick it back in the oven for the next 15 minutes or so. And then we'll bring it out and y'all will be able to see what it looks like with this addition of cheese. I think I'm adding about another cup or so, maybe 3/4 of a cup of shredded cheese. And again, this is Colby Jack. So I've got that cheese added. I'm gonna place the foil back on top of this and place it back in the oven for the remaining like 10 minutes or so, and then bring y'all back so you can see what it looks like with the addition of the added cheese. Okay, so I'll bring y'all back in just a second. All right, y'all, so it has been about 10 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and take the casserole out. All right, y'all, so there it is. That's with the addition of the cheese. It looks really, really good. I'm about to bake a cake, so let me change this temperature. 325. Okay, so there it is. It's sizzling. I don't know if y'all can hear it or not. It smells good. I've got some pico already over here. I'm gonna pull out some sour cream, and so I'll do a taste test after this rests for about maybe 10 minutes, maybe not that long, but I'm gonna give it about 5-10 minutes, and then I'll do a taste test for y'all. Okay, and that'll give me enough time to kind of get finished with the cake I'm doing and put that in the oven. So I'll bring y'all back in about 5-10 minutes. Okay guys, so it's been about 10 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this over here, and I'm gonna get a little bowl, well, probably a larger bowl because of those chips, and taste test. And I've got some sour cream and pico right here. Ooh, that looks good. And I'm trying to avoid the bottom layer of my chips just being just like soggy. So that's why I didn't want to have a whole lot of liquid in the bottom of my casserole. If by chance you want to have a lot of liquid in the bottom of your casserole, be my guest. Some people don't mind that soggy kind of, the sogginess at the bottom of theirs, but I know I didn't want it. So here's some pico I'm going to add. And I'm going to add some sour cream. This will be good with some rice too. And there's my sour cream on top. I just put a little bit. I don't want a whole lot, but I'm going to add some more pico to mine. Okay. All right, so here we go. This is good. I'll tell you. The sweetness of the corn, the heat of the pico, the salty of the Doritos. Hold on. The savory of the protein. This is an excellent casserole. It's good. And I'm not a big taco, but this is really, really good. I can see how this would be excellent for like a potluck, for a teacher work day, baby shower, anything where it's going to be a group of people, a party. This is really, really good. Really good. Really good. And I'm going to add a little bit more sour cream to mine. And I reserved some corn and beans. I'm gonna add a little bit more corn to mine too. And a little bit more beans. Even though there's plenty of it on there, I just wanted to add some. And that pico, I got it at Walmart. It's hot, it is good. It's good too. Okay, anyway. All right, well, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and go eat. This is excellent. So I'll see you all next time at 234 in La Casa, and I'll put the ingredients and everything in the description box below. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all next time. Bye.